on to make sure that we have enough time. Thank you for hitting record, Zita. So our discussion today is AI-powered personalization in publishing. AI has the potential to be transformative, and in fact, we're already seeing it at work in all of our day-to-day lives, whether that's in our advertising that we receive on social media, or whether that's through the recommendation engines that we're all using day to day, from Amazon to Netflix. And it's going beyond what we've seen previously with traditional data and analytics. So the machine learning capabilities are predicting and adapting to user behavior in real time. And how are they doing that? They're processing extensive amounts of data from our browsing histories, from our learning, from our purchase records, from our social media, and it's identifying unique user patterns. So the more data it gathers, the sharper those recommendations, and ultimately, so brands who are leveraging this AI-powered personalization can really transform their customer engagement. So today we're focusing in on how that AI personalization is being used in publishing. We have two great speakers, as I mentioned. Firstly, Rory, I had to bring your quote out from the PubTech Trends report here, in terms of looking at how AI is impacting on discoverability and post-publication promotion. The PubTech Trends report has numerous mentions of AI technology, but it's also a really nice segue to introduce our second speaker, who is Stephanie Lovegrove Hansen from Silverchair, who is going to be speaking to her experiences with Hum. So we're focusing in on CDPs today. We could have talked about AI personalization in multiple ways, but Rory and Stephanie, thank you for sharing your thoughts on Hum. Our breakout discussions will then give us a chance to dig in a little bit further to think about how CDPs and AI and personalization are working from your perspectives for your organizations. So without further ado, I'm going to turn us over to Rory. Thank you, Rory.
Okay, great. Well, thank you so much. And I'll definitely keep this brief. I know that we have about 7 minutes here. So I'm Rory Williams, the Director of Communications and Marketing at Rockefeller University Press. Our EP is based in Manhattan, and that's a photo there of our shimmering office in Midtown. Next slide, please. And just to give you an idea of our portfolio, we publish about 890 articles between these 4 journals. JCB, JM, and JGP are on the Silverchair platform, and we co-publish Life Science Lines with Cold Spring Harbor and Embo Press on the Highwire platform. And all the journals actually use EJP. Next slide, please. All right, so we were connected with Hum in 2022 and actually started deploying it across our websites on 2023. And basically, Hum takes your content, your first-party data, and begins to make associations that allow you to segment your audiences, curate content, and deliver on-site campaigns. In our case, they're looking at journal articles, they're looking at Silverchair and EJP profiles, and all the website visitors. Alchemist is Hum's AI engine, which uses LLMs, deep neural nets, and algorithms to inform strategies. For us, this is surfacing topics and creating segments. And then you can also use it to execute tactics, which in our case is deploying pop-ups as well as forms. So the large monitor in the back shows you the JM immunology collection. And this is really what we use. This is the bulk of our Hum activities at this point, is deploying these special collections to people that have an affinity for the research topics. And so this will just display for those individuals that we've segmented in Hum. So far, the conversion rate, and by conversion rate, I just mean this is like a click-through campaign. So they're just getting to the next special collection page. The conversion rate is 3.6%, which is pretty solid when compared to our social media rates, as well as our email conversion rates. If you're just looking at click-through rate, not click-to-open rate, but like click rate. So those are the bulk, again, the bulk of our efforts there. We have about 15 running at a time. Hum does allow you to weight certain collections. So if you want one to show, more often than another, if someone has, both affinities, you're able to do that. So, and you're also able to set a max as well. So you're not just hitting people with pop-ups after pop-ups, right? I mean, again, to go back to like the point of this presentation is to provide a personalized and pleasant experience on your website versus just hitting you with messages when you're just trying to read an article. So we do special collections, and then the other campaign that I wanted to bring up too is reviewer recruitment, which was somewhat successful, but then also, it was kind of a toss-up. So We ran reviewer recruitment campaigns for JCB and JM on two different topics, looking for reviewers in those fields, and we received 170 inquiries, right, which is great. So the editors took back those. Sorry. Oh, so the editors took back the inquiries and deemed, though, that they were all too early in their careers, or for whatever reason it just didn't work out. But we had a lot of interest, but in the end the editors decided against it. Some of the other campaigns that we're running are read and publish campaigns, which we've been running for Max Planck and our JISC deals. Great conversion rates there too, and these are people actually. So when you're at a JISC institution, you visit the website, you get a form that asks you if you want more information about how to publish free under the deal. You sign up for that, and then that's counted as a conversion. For JISC, the conversion rate was a little bit lower, but for Max Planck, it was around 10%, which was great. For the JISC campaign, we do know that it resulted. We do know that it resulted in 2 submissions and 1 published paper, since the campaign was running and this person hadn't, or this group hadn't published with us previously. So that was successful. Next slide, please. All right, and so this, I wanted to share this campaign with you. This is a call for papers campaign for one of our journals. And the reason I wanted to show this to you was because it kind of shows the full potential of Alchemist. So what makes this unique, if you look at the screenshot on the left-hand side, you'll see that you're able to just enter in the definition of the topic, and then that will actually create the segment of individuals interested in that topic. So instead of entering a bunch of different keywords, right, you're actually just putting in a definition, and it's doing the rest. So that's great. The other thing that I wanted to mention too is Hum is connected to our HubSpot, and so you'll see in the top right here, once you fill out the form, you'll then receive an email, and then also it sets off a nurture campaign, and then also sets off placing those individuals in social media ad segments. So we're able to retarget that way. And I think that's it. I think I made it 7 minutes.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Rory.
Thank you.
We're going to save up questions for our discussion groups at this point. But if you do have questions for Rory, drop them in the chat or take them to your discussions, and we'll come back to those when we loop back round. In the meantime, Stephanie, thank you very much for taking us on next. Stephanie, you are on mute.
There we go. For some reason, Teams decided to freeze for a second, while right at the moment that I was unmuting. Well, thanks. I will have a little bit of overlap with some of the things that Rory shared, but Silverchair being not a publisher, but a platform provider, there's a little bit different angles to the way that we use Hum. So I thought I would just characterize this in the flow of event creation and promotion. Next slide, please. So just really quickly, I'll touch on how we use Hum, as well as a couple other AI tools throughout the event marketing process. So from research, audience creation, targeting, repurposing, and then retargeting. Next slide, please. So we use Hum for a variety of things, and one of the things that they can do is these AI applied keywords. So they scraped our entire site and applied additional keywords beyond the ones that we had manually kind of added. And then from there, they have this content discovery section of the tool, where basically it'll tell you how different keywords, both the ones you applied and the ones that they had kind of inferred from the content, are performing. And what I like about it is it's not just like which ones are doing the best. You'll see here at the top it says opportunities, oversaturated, and underperforming. So it'll tell you like what are the topics that are performing really well but that you don't have very much content in, and conversely, what are the things you're publishing a lot of that are not getting engagement. So I found this is an interesting tool to use, and we've actually used this. I'm also the chair of the Marcom committee for SSP. We've used this to inform topics for events both at Silverchair and at SSP. If you could advance. The other thing I've used this for is for research for topics and speakers. So for example, I'm presenting at AUP in Montreal next month, and I had promised in my description to have an author speak, and turns out I don't know any authors that are based in Montreal. So I used ChatGPT to say, give me a list of authors that are, published in scholarly journals that are based in Montreal. And much to his horror, if you could advance, I found a speaker. Sorry, could you advance the slide? Should show up. Fenwick McKelvey. Oh, it didn't. Oh, there he is. Yeah, he is speaking on our panel now, and was a little bit terrified that I found him using ChatGPT, but he's perfect. So that was very useful use of ChatGPT. And the next slide. So likewise, just like RUP, we use Hum. We sort of pour all the data from our email, our website, all the stuff into Hum, where we can then create the segments and segment our audience, and then flow those segments back out to the website, to our email campaign, and to, for us, Pipedrive is our sales CRM. If you could advance. So using the Hum platform, this is like what Rory showed. You can use you can either use just straight up keywords to segment audiences, but then you can also, as you see here, this AI powered, I don't know if you can read that, but it says that the Alchemist powered AI inferred interests. So what I did here is I just entered the description for our webinar series in there, and it inferred from the keywords in there, as opposed to me having to type them all. I also did segment on some keywords, but then it could infer the audience that would probably be interested in this webinar series. And next slide, please. So then from there, I think we all are, not wanting to spam people, plus, never mind GDPR. So what that means is I'm not going to email all these people who have not necessarily consented to receive email marketing from us, but what we can do is target them on the website. So those people, based on their browsing interests and past experience with us, could get a pop-up, just like the ones that Rory was showing. And yeah, it is really nice that you can adjust it so that people, for example, I can filter out people that have already registered for the webinar, so they don't continue to get these advertisements. I think that was everything for this slide. Next slide. And so the other thing I found is after the event, AI can be really useful for repurposing that content. So this is a screenshot from an event we hosted in September of last year. I uploaded the recording, got a transcript, then downloaded the transcript and shortened it, but it had a lot of vestiges of having been spoken. There's a lot of just ways that you say things that you wouldn't write them, things like that. So I loaded it into ChatGPT and said, clean up. I believe the prompt I used was something around like, do not change the content or of the talk, but tighten it up to be for a written format, and just tighten up the phrasing without altering it too much. And then if you'll advance, from there, I did my final edits. It was good as just kind of a starting point, and then we published it. And so we got even more out of that event and the recording than we would have otherwise. And then final slide, please. So then now that I have that article, you can then yet again target and repurpose the content further. I took a description of the talk that he'd given and some text from the article, put it in that AI-powered inferred interest thing. And another thing I did was target it by anyone who had engaged with any of Stuart's previous articles or previous recordings, so that now they will get served that content when they visit the website. One other cool thing on here, you'll see there's also the relevancy range. So you can set how sensitive you want it to be. You can say be pretty broad, anyone who's kind of generally interested, versus we want this to be hyper targeted. So it's kind of nice that it has that flexibility. But that is it for me.
Wow, thank you. You were both so on time. We actually have 3 minutes before we move on. So there is one question in the chat, which is for Rory, from Helen. How long did it take you to roll out what you described, Rory?
Oh, to roll out. So, so we got in touch with them in November 2022, I want to say, but then it kind of took a little bit of time on both of our ends. So then we weren't really deploying until the spring. But I think at this point, I think the turnaround is a lot quicker. Stephanie, do you have any input on that as well?
Yeah, it always surprises me, sometimes you can spend a lot of time with the segmenting and getting really, specific in the way that you do the audience. But once you have the audience set up, you can deploy the actual campaign in a matter of minutes. I mean, I think it takes between 5 and 10 minutes for us to actually create the pop-up and have it live on the site.
Oh, so was this like to deploy it across the sites then? Was the question more about like starting Hum from scratch?
Oh yeah,
Getting
starting Hum from
getting it
scratch took a
deployed
lot
across the
longer.
website?
Helen, do you want to quickly unmute?
Yeah, it was more the question. You outlined some really interesting use cases that go across quite a broad spectrum of what I would understand as data sets, and at least in our environment. And my experience of rolling out a CDP is that takes quite a long time. So I'd be interested to understand how long that took you with Hum, or what kind of approach you took. Is it kind of one after another, or yeah?
Yeah. For us, it was, I'd say it was from November to we launched our first campaign, I believe, in late February, early April, or late February, early March. Sorry.
Yeah, we had kind of a weird experience because we were one of their very early customers. And so a lot of times when they were setting up some of these integrations, we were the first people that had done it. At this point, they have so many existing integrations that it's a little more plug and play. So I don't know that our experience was very typical.
Yeah, same with us too. We were one of the early customers. So.
Okay, thank you both very much. It's time for everyone to have a chance to have a conversation as well now. So you'll see some questions up on the screen. We are going to break into 4 different rooms. I'm going to hand over to Zita, who's going to lead us through that now.
Okay, thank you, Mitu. Let's hope the technology is on our side. I might have not give you the right number of rooms, but I tried to do my best. So you will end up in one room or another. There's a segment, a few people who will stay in the main chat and have a conversation with me because I couldn't assign myself in the room and facilitate the conversation. So some of us will stick with the main room and then some of you will be sent off. So wish me luck. And I'm going to stop recording, by the way. So I just wanted to say we're not going to record a conversation. We're going to come back together and then feedback on what we discussed, and we record that bit so you can freely talk about anything in the groups. All right, so you should all disappear.
Thanks, Zita. Everyone have a great conversation.